How's the bacon, did you say?
Batistuta! Oh, what a fantastic hit! Roy Keane on Haaland. Here's Sancho. Aguero! I swear you'll never see anything like this ever again!
Hello, welcome to the Prawn Sandwich Podcast, Season 3. I'm one of your three hosts, Nathan Cupid, and as usual, I'm joined by the dynamic duo of Dylan McKenzie and Jamie Jackson.
Hello.
Hello. And joining us this week is a fan of the podcast and also Derby County fan, Mr. Matthew Jones. Welcome to the show.
Welcome. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. Wonderful to be on.
Thanks for coming on there. Matthew's a Derby County fan. Tell us, how old are you, Matthew? So,
I'm 29 next week, so I'm 28 at the minute.
Right. So, like your era of Derby County will be like post Branko Strupar and those kind of players, is it?
It's just been pure disappointment, to be honest with you, from day one. I'm a little bit too young for the glory days. I vaguely remember us being in the in the Premiership when it was the Premiership, but pretty much just downhill really.
Yeah.
The odd high, but yeah.
So you missed the Jim Smith glory days of the 90s.
Yeah, I vaguely remember the back end of it, but I missed all the glory days, unfortunately.
I know, we feel you there. Being Sunderland supporters as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities really. Like I feel like there's a lot of similarities between Derby and Sunderland in terms of it's just been downhill for quite a while, really. So
in recent years, 100%.
Mm.
Also, as well as supporting Derby County, you're a big Football Manager fan. So
I would. I am. I'm pretty much obsessed with it. Really, it's probably a good and a bad thing at the same time. So, it certainly ruined a lot of my time at university. Let's put it that way.
Who's your current save with? Is it Derby or is it someone else?
I started with Derby initially on 21, but I always start with Derby just to get a feel for the game. My save at the minute is with Norwich. I just wanted to do something a little bit different, really. But I've really cracked on this year. I've managed to play quite a bit, so I'm up to like 20-37 at the minute on that save. So I'm really into it. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But I've been playing it solidly since like January. So that's like two full months worth of work, really. So
Unreal. That is absolutely unreal.
Yeah, how are you getting on with them? Like, Europe and that.
Oh yeah, I think I've won 6 Premier League titles as of today, something like that. 2 Champions Leagues. Can't remember the rest of the cups, but basically I just do what I normally do on Football Manager, just buy young and sell high, really. So got a stupid amount of money in the bank. Yeah, I'm really enjoying the game this year. It's one of the best. It's probably the best one actually, I think, so far.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. And what was your favourite version of the game being?
I think in terms of gameplay, I think it's got better every year, and I think it has culminated in 21. I think if you look at where it's come from, like in the 2010, 2011 era, I think it's just come on leaps and bounds as a game. I've got a real soft spot for Football Manager 15 for some reason. I had a really good Rotherham save on that edition. I don't know. Again, I don't know why Rotherham. I think I started like a Wolfsburg or something like that as random, and then I got sacked and I went to Rotherham. But with that one, I played like 40 seasons or something, so I think that's why that one sticks out in my memory. So, but yeah, I just think it's just superior to all the other football games. Like, I'm not a big FIFA player or anything like that. That's pretty much the only game I play. But yeah, I've just loved it since I was a kid, really.
It outshadows FIFA by absolute miles. Like, there's no. I play FIFA Pro clubs and that's about it. I tried to play like a seasons match the other day. I did one game and then was like, "This is terrible." Like, get me back to Footy Manager.
I genuinely don't think. Oh, go on, sorry.
So the 2037 is impressive. It makes me like I need to start putting like effort into my saves. I'll do like a season and a half and go out board and start again. It's good effort.
I think I'm at an advantage because my girlfriend's very forgiving with me playing the game, so she doesn't pester me to do other things, and I haven't got any kids or anything like that. So I think I've probably got a lot more spare time than other people. So I'm probably an advantage really. But I get through a season. I probably get through a season a week, probably maybe a little bit quicker sometimes. So yeah, it's only a couple of hours, 3 hours a day. So.
Yeah,
Seem to fly through it. Yeah.
Have you ever because obviously Champman 01 or 2 is available for the full game's available for a free download. Like, do you ever play any of the older games still, or do you just change each time as you go?
Yeah, I'm probably like on the borderline of being too young to remember like Championship Manager, I'd say. I am familiar with the older editions and I have played them in the past. But I won't lie, I'm not as up on it as I am with the newer games, to be honest. But I think it's just for nostalgia more than anything else. You look back and see some of the screenshots of the players, and it's hilarious, really. But yeah, I was a bit too young really for Championship Manager. I was like, I think for the last Championship Manager game, I'd have been about 8, so I was just a little bit too young for it. So
I remember like Derby County. Tonton Zola Makoku and Chris Riggett always got mint on Championship Manager as well.
Shame he wasn't in real life, but he was a decent player. Yeah, like I say, I'm a little bit too young for it really at the time, but looking back, like that was probably the end of our glory days. So you weren't really getting in the 0102 edition. Definitely, I don't think you were getting the full glory days of Derby. But yeah, I seem to remember Chris Riggett being a baller on a couple of them, the early ones. Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Jay can get Championship Manager 01 or 2 into any conversation in history.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a few and Jay will bring that up.
Tell everyone at work about it in that manner.
Oh god.
Hooked on nostalgia.
Absolutely.
Well, we'll move on to Derby County then, mate. So, what's your first memory of supporting them? How far, like as far back as you can go and remember.
So in the early days, I think my very first memory is my first match. So that was in 2000, and it was Derby 3, Middlesbrough 3 at Pride Park. I remember it very, very vividly to this day. I was obviously quite young, but we were 3-0 down, and then we scored in the 68th minute, and we come back to draw 3-3. So it's a good first game, really, to get you hooked to football. To get you hooked on football. I remember it vividly to this day. My dad lifting both me and my brother up in the air and like throwing us around when we equalised. It's just great memories. Great memories. Yeah. Since then, I was hooked on football from that point, really. I did have a soft spot for Man United as well. I think every kid did around 2000 era when they were really good. But I think since going to that first game, it was Derby all the way, and I've never looked back since.
Are you local to Derby then?
I live in a town called Alfred, and it's pretty much in between Derby and Nottingham. It's right. Yeah, it's right on the border of Derbyshire and Nottinghamshire. So we are pretty much split down the middle between Derby and Forest usually. You get the odd Chesterfield, Mansfield as well. They're very local to us as well, but pretty much 50-50 split Derby Forest around here.
Who was on the score sheet that day?
Now you're asking me. I can't remember now. I think Malcolm Christie got 2.
Obviously.
And I can't remember who the other one was.
Ooh.
I can't remember now. I'm pretty sure Malcolm Christie got 2, and he scored the equaliser. Yeah, he was a low key, really good player back in the day for Derby.
Wow. He's a Mercedes salesman now, isn't he?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does something really random. What is it? I can't remember what job he does now.
Oh, I'm Chief Googler, so I've given it a quick Google. It was Malcolm Christie did get 2. He got the first and the equaliser. And in the middle, it was Strupar who scored.
Strupar. I don't remember. I remember the equaliser vividly to this day, but I don't remember. I don't remember the other two. I thought Christie got two. So you're a better. You've researched it more than I have. Let's put it that way.
I just googled it right there.
I just love
Do my
Malcolm
job on
Christie.
So, like, obviously, the next question from that was going to be your first match, but you've answered that with that there. But
Yeah.
I know you were young, but were you so young you can't remember like what it was like walking in for the first time to Pride Park and getting the feel of it?
I remember a lot about my first match. I'll be honest, I don't remember seeing like Pride Park for the first time. I think the overriding memory and emotion of it is just going to a football match for the first time. I don't think I was particularly fussed who it was at the time. I don't know if you guys feel the same, but like I loved it since I was a kid. And then obviously, I know it might be the same for everyone, but times were hard, so we couldn't go to football all the time. Like we had barely any money, so it was a treat to go to the football. And then the first time you go and just see any stadium is just unbelievable.
Yeah, it blows your mind, doesn't it? When you're like,
absolutely.
It doesn't matter what level, you just go and you're watching like a live game of football in amongst like thousands of other people. It's when you're small, everything seems massive. Like so,
absolutely.
Cool. So, have you got a favorite player of all time? I know, like, as everyone gets a bit older, you don't get as emotionally attached to players, but anybody that's particularly stood out from your time supporting Derby?
I'll be honest. A lot of my favorite players are from more recent times. Like from when I was very young, it was a hard time to be a Derby fan. We didn't really have that much talent, unfortunately. So I narrowed it down to three that are in my top three favorite players. They're Steve Howard, Jake Buxton, and Craig Bryson. And I think out of those three, Steve Howard, who is a former Derby striker, just edges it out of those three. He's just epitomised everything for me that was great about football and about the club. He gave 100% every single game. He was a cult hero at Derby. He was only there for about 2 seasons, but he was just a massive cult hero, and he made a big impression on me at that time. So, just Steve Howard, I'm saying, is my favourite player.
Was he in the squad that got promoted in the playoffs when Stephen Pearson scored?
Yes, he was. He signed at the start of that season. I think he cost us about £1 million or something like that when he signed. And for us at that time, that was a lot of money. Like we hadn't had £1 million player for quite a while, I think, at that time. And he wasn't that great from what I remember when for the first few games, and then all of a sudden he just started bang, 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 and he just started scoring like every game, every other game. He was just a massive cult hero amongst all Derby fans, and he gave us some great memories. So, yeah, he was a big part of the promotion winning season. Obviously, not on the day, but throughout that season, he was a massive part of the squad. Yeah.
Good answer, like that.
Me too.
Have you got a favourite ever goal from matches that you've been to?
I'd say in terms of quality of goal, Harry Wilson against United at Old Trafford a couple of seasons ago. Don't know if you guys remember that. His free kick. Yeah, absolutely. I still don't know to this day how he managed to score in the way that he did. Like, if you look at the reverse angle of it, I don't understand how the ball does what it does. So I'd say in terms of quality, probably that one. In terms of what it meant to the fans, I'd probably and like nostalgia for me, probably Jack Marriott against Leeds in the playoffs again a couple of years ago. Do you remember when we were 2-1 down from the home leg, and then Jack Marriott scored like 86th, 87th minute just to send us to Wembley. And just in terms of like the emotion of the goal, that is probably my favourite goal. Obviously, it didn't end well for us in the final, but
is that Lampard?
Yeah, that was under Lampard. Yeah, so that was with the goggles. Yeah, that's the one. And just everything that had gone before that game in terms of like Spygate, and we'd been written off completely after the first leg because Leeds had absolutely battered us. Like, and just to score that goal and take us to Wembley, just a release, just an emotion that I've never felt before, and other Derby fans hadn't felt before. And to be honest, we didn't really care what happened in the final after that. we beat Leeds and ruined their season. So I think that was the main thing for Derby fans at the time. So yeah, I'd say that is my favourite goal.
No, because you've had a bit of heartache in the playoffs. I think it's a bit of an understatement. Like Dylan Dylan done a bit of research before about Derby in the playoffs. So the next two questions were best moment and worst moment. So I'll go with worst moment first, so we can go to a high after that. So worst Derby.
I think there's only one place we can go for worst moment as a Derby County fan. Losing to QPR at Wembley in the playoff final. Yeah. Bobby Zamora and all that. Genuinely, I was there. Yeah. Oh, I've got a story to tell about the day as well. It was just an absolute disaster from start to finish. So me and my friend were supposed to get a bus, like a coach from Nottingham to London, because we were planning on having a few drinks like you do on a playoff final day. We missed the coach from Nottingham to London. So because it was my mum that was giving us a lift to Nottingham. So she had obviously drove off at that point. She didn't know we'd missed the bus. So my stepdad had to drive my car from my house, which is about 20 miles from Nottingham, to the service station. And then I drove down to London to Wembley to go to the match. And we just made it for kickoff. We had to pay £20 to park in the car park literally next to Wembley. And then after all that, what happened. It was just an absolute disaster from start to finish, to be honest.
I remember watching that game, and Derby absolutely battered QPR that day. Absolutely destroyed them.
I think that is the best team I've ever seen as a Derby fan that season. Even including the team that took us up like 8 years before. Like I think that team had everything. It was tailor-made for the Premier League. And if we'd have won that game, I do genuinely think we would have kicked on and done possibly what I wouldn't say we'd have won the league like Leicester had done, because that's unbelievable. But something like that, establishing ourselves in the Premier League, I think we were tailor-made to go up that season, and it just went like it did. So horrendous.
What was that, like? I'm not trying to bring up bad memories for you, but like obviously we'll come on to the current situation in a bit, but if we touch on a bit more of like the other playoffs, like the other playoff failures, so to speak.
Yeah.
So you had that Bobby Zamora final.
Yep.
You've mentioned obviously the Leeds when you got through, and that was a different season, wasn't it? When you beat Leeds, who did you play in the final that year?
Yes, so we beat Leeds in the semis, then we played Villa in the final.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah,
I've got down before that. The season before that was 17-18, lost to Fulham in the semi-finals.
Yeah,
and then the 15-16 lost to Hull in the semi-finals.
Yeah.
Is that the one where Hull went up? Did they beat Sheffield Wednesday in the final?
Yeah, I think pretty much everyone that's beat us has gone up. So I think we're a lucky omen if you draw us in the playoffs. To be honest,
if you get Derby in the playoffs, you're going up.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, so like you say, the earliest one out of them was when we lost to Hull in the semi-finals. We lost 3-0 on the home leg. Andy Robertson actually got the third that day before he turned good. Yeah, and then we actually won the reverse leg 2-0, I think, and we missed some absolute sitters to level it 3-0. So that was like our own doing, really. We could, if we'd have performed better in the first leg, I do generally think we would have gone to Wembley that season. So, but in that season leading up to that, we made some questionable decisions. Like we sacked Paul Clement when we were sat fourth in the league and started a chance of going up automatically, and then put our youth coach in charge of the team for the rest of the season, which to me and a lot of other Derby fans didn't really make any sense. But he managed to steer us just into the playoffs, and then obviously what happened against Hull happened. So, and then the Fulham one was were, again, a little bit different. 'Cause I think Fulham were just so far clear that season of most teams in the Championship. Like it was a surprise that they didn't go up automatically. To be honest, like they had Sessegnon and Mitrovic. I think they had Mitrovic. I can't remember. And they were just absolutely flying. And to be honest, they just outplayed us. From memory, I've not really researched it, but I think we won one of the legs 1-0. I think it was the first leg 1-0. And to be honest, I don't know how we managed to get away with that. And then they beat us in the reverse leg. So yeah, again, it was against a better team, I feel, that time. And then obviously a couple of years ago under Lampard, beat Leeds in the semi-finals. I've sort of touched upon that Derby fans sort of went into that with like no expectations really. But I think because of that, we were thinking it might be our year because nobody expected us to do it. So we thought, right, we'll go out and surprise everyone. And then Frank Lampard went into the final and didn't play a striker. So the rest is history, I suppose.
You can hear the disappointment in your voice. It's more like therapy than a podcast at the minute.
Yeah, it is, unfortunately.
I know.
I fear the playoffs, mate. Like we've lost in 2 playoff finals in my lifetime of supporting Sunderland, and we've been beaten in 1 semi-final as well. I don't. We've hit a bit of form now, and I think I'm starting to turn a little bit positive that we might actually evade the playoffs and maybe finish second or something. But I will absolutely be terrified in the playoffs. They're just not.
I think from a neutral point of view, the playoffs are absolutely amazing. I think for football they are absolutely brilliant, but if you're in them, they are the worst thing to ever happen to football. So
they're not enjoyable at all as a fan.
No, absolutely. Well, obviously, obviously from my side, no.
So your best moment as a Derby fan, mate?
I think it has to be getting promoted at Wembley. I just think that the whole experience of that day, the season, what it meant to everyone, what it meant to my dad as well, just sort of tips that over the edge. I think just being able to like walk down Wembley Way with your dad to watch your team in a final at Wembley, sing the national anthem, watch the players come out. I think the whole day, if you win, is just the best experience possible. So I would say that. Again, I think we were such underdogs throughout that season and throughout that final as well, that I think the way it happened just made it that bit more special as well.
So that was 2007?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so it was against West Brom in the final.
Yeah, and again, I think West Brom that season were pretty much a Premier League team in the Championship. With the squad they had, nobody expected us to go out and beat them that season. Like I think we finished third that season, but in reality, we were nowhere near the third best team in that league.
Yeah, we had a bit of beef with them that year.
I don't remember. Like I was only like 14, 15 at the time. So.
Basically, it was like February time we beat West Brom away, and Tony Mowbray came out and said that they'd finish above us and they were the better team. And then we won the league.
Oh yeah, I forgot you guys won the league that year. Yeah,
and you beat them in the playoff final. So we were like had not a rivalry, but had a little bit of like, see you more, bro.
I remember the games against Derby that year because we played Derby in Keane's first game in charge.
Yeah,
that season.
That does ring a bell, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, and we played yous at the stadium. Like we won with a penalty. No, we won with a Liam Miller header in the last minute of the game at the stadium.
Yeah, I remember. I was there. I was there. I remember that. Yeah. I've always loved going to Sunderland. To be honest, I think I've been like 4 or 5 times to Sunderland. It's always a good day out. I think we've lost 3 times in the last minute though. So again, I think I'm a jinx. But
you remember the Giles Barnes goal in that game?
That was great.
Again, vaguely, it's my memory's not great to be honest, but I do vaguely remember it. Yeah.
360 spin on the edge of the box that took out like 3 Sunderland defenders and rifled into the bottom corner. It was a quality finish.
He was he was such an underrated player back in the day, and he's ruined himself. So yeah, it's a
I
shame.
say, wasn't
really.
he like tipped to be next big thing? Then did he end up in the MLS after?
Yeah. Yeah, he had a lot of injuries at Derby, to be fair to him, so he never probably had the chance to fill his potential. And to be fair, he came into the team at like 16, 17, and he was already at a championship level, so it was only really going to go downhill from there. He ended up at like West Brom and Fulham, I think, and then he ended up in the MLS. Yeah, shame really, because he was brilliant when he first came in.
Yeah.
He was playing under Owen Coyle at Houston Dynamo at one point.
How the mighty fall.
So if we touch on to the current situation then, because we've been talking a lot about struggles of the and nothing epitomises that more than your season at the moment, really.
Just to chip in a second, we did a prediction episode. I don't know if you heard it. I actually picked just to go up second.
Oh, okay. Okay. Right.
So, blame me for this if you want.
But did you so when Rooney came in as a player and was a player coach, it was inevitable he was going to be taken over at manager at some point. But did you expect it to go so bad under Koku and it to happen as quick as this?
I agree with you that I think every Derby fan thought as soon as he came in as a player coach and the way that he came in, it was inevitable he was probably going to be our next manager. I think he was groomed from the start, really. In terms of Koku, I was never the biggest fan of him really from the start. I'm genuinely one of the most realistic football fans you'll ever meet. I know that it takes time with a new manager, but I think from the start, the way he was trying to get us to play wasn't going to work the way that he wanted us to. So I was never fully convinced at the start. He did win us over, obviously, when I think we won 5 or 6 games in a row just before the lockdown. And we were actually pushing for the playoffs at the end of last season until it all unravelled a little bit. But yeah, I just think the way he was trying to do and play football with the players that he had was never going to work, unfortunately. As a guy, he was absolutely amazing. Like I can't fault him as a person at all. He did a lot for the fans, a lot for the community, and he was just a genuinely nice person. But the writing was on the wall, I think, from when it started to unravel a bit last season. I think he started to lose the fans a little bit, to be honest.
But at the start of this season, I mean, I took note of when I saw Jayden Bogle and Max Lowe leave, basically because I had them on a Football Manager save. So I kept an eye on them. So two good young players going at the start of the season, but you must have got a bit of money in for them. But was it reinvested in the squad at all?
So from what I gather, the reports of how much we actually got for them varies from anywhere between 6 million and 11 million. So we don't actually know how much we got for the pair of them. I think we were more disappointed to lose Bogle than Lowe. I think Lowe, he's like 22, 23, and he's never really been consistent or held down a place in the team. So to be honest with you, I don't think many Derby fans were that gutted to lose Max Lowe. But in terms of Bogle, he's probably the best player to come out of our academy for quite a while. So it was disappointing to lose him. In terms of reinvestment, not really. No, because the money situation is as it is. It all pretty much went back into the club. I mean, we signed Kamil Jojwiak, can't remember his name then, who has been very hit and miss at the minute and cost about £3 million, I think, something like that. But he was being linked with like Southampton and teams like that when we signed him. So we thought it was a big coup, but he's been very inconsistent so far. So the money's not been invested that well. And then obviously after the money situation sort of cleared itself up a little bit on deadline day, we just panicked. We just panicked and got 5 loans in. So we've not really reinvested that money, and we're just relying on loans and youngsters again, really.
So are you worried about relegation then? I'm looking at the league table here, and he's at 18th, 6 points clear of Rotherham, who are third bottom. Rotherham have a game in hand.
I'm a lot less worried than I was 3 weeks ago, but I genuinely think that some Derby fans are being so unrealistic about their expectations. Like I've seen a lot of Derby fans at the start of the season saying that the Championship looked quite weak this year and we could easily get top two. And I was saying from the start that we were more likely to get relegated than we were to get promoted. So I wouldn't be amazed if we did get relegated, to be honest, because the way the squad is at the minute is pretty much wafer thin. But I'm more confident now than I was like 3-4 weeks ago after we picked up a few wins. So I think we'll just be okay, is my prediction this year.
Yeah, I mean, Wickham are obviously. I think everyone knows that they're going. It's quite a scrap down the bottom there. It'd be a disaster if you did go down. I hope you stay up.
No.
Yeah, I think if we do go down, it'll be almost terminal for the club, to be honest. With obviously the way the money situation is at the minute, unless the takeover goes through, which is looking less and less likely by the day, I think we are genuinely in trouble if we go down, to be honest.
Mate, it's shit. It's pure shit. You don't just win the league like you think you're gonna. It's so shit.
Yeah, again, like I say, I think, as I've said before, I'm a very, very realistic football fan in general. And I just think some Derby fans are just very unrealistic with their expectations for the club. I think they think that our youth players are a lot better than they are, when the truth is they are mid-table Championship players, and we're a mid-table Championship team. So I think we've just got to look at it that way, to be honest.
Well, hopefully you stay up and can kick on under Rooney, avoid relegation and try and build on something. But if you're needing a takeover and it's not happening, we know as well as anybody what that's like. You can end up in such a situation where you're not going to get out of for a while.
You'll end up with a Netflix series.
Yeah, I think if Amazon or Netflix wanted a good drama, I think Derby would have been a good shout, to be honest, alongside Sunderland. I think they would have had enough content. God.
Right. Well, before we move on to your favourite all-time 11, I'm going to do a little quiz.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got anything handy to write something down on, Matthew,
yep,
that'd be handy.
Yep, I can get it. That's no problem. Yep. Yeah, I'm ready when you guys are.
Well, this definitely favours the guest.
Okay.
I've got a list here of Derby's top 10 Premier League goal scorers of all time. So even though it favours the guest because it's Derby County, it's still just before his time, majority of them.
Okay.
So I just need just names, and then whoever gets the most obviously wins. And I've got a tiebreaker question at the end.
So is this 92 onwards then, Premier League era?
Yeah, 1992 onwards, Premier League. Derby's
okay.
I might not even be able to name, not to be disrespectful, mate, but I might not even be able to name 10 players here.
That's I don't take any disrespect. Don't worry.
I'll give you a clue. There's been 2 mentioned on this very podcast recording right now. While you're mulling over that, I'll just plug the social media a bit. So if you want to find us on Twitter, we are at Prawn Podcast. If you want to give us a follow, we'll keep up to date with when new episodes are getting released and as much daily content as we can put on. And on Instagram, it is at prawn_sandwich. Dylan runs that. There's always loads of stuff being posted every day. Pictures from our Football Manager Chronicle series and different polls on things and stuff like that as well.
My depot images have just dropped tonight.
Yeah, I've just went on there and can see that there's some Football Manager screenshots. And of course, just like our posts, share our posts, share the podcast. If you could give us a rating on any podcast platform as well, that'd be great. How are you getting on, guys?
I'm a Derby fan and I'm struggling, to be honest. So
I've got 7.
I'm literally just putting players that I remember playing for Derby.
Same.
I'd have struggled with this, to be honest, and a lot of it's like my era.
yeah, like I said, I think a lot. I'm trying to think before my time. That's the problem, I think. And to be fair, we've been awful for most of the time, so I think there's going to be some surprising names in there.
How many have you got down, Matthew?
I've just put my 9th one down now. I'm struggling to think of a 10th.
Where are you, Nate? How many have you got?
7.
Dylan?
8. But one's Robbie Savage, so you may as well put 7.
Yes, love it.
Oh man!
Anything to give Savage a pull.
I think he scored a couple.
I think in the championship, I think.
I don't know. I think when he scored about 11 goals that season. So
I remember marking Adel Taarabt totally out of a game one evening on a live game on Sky. Robbie Savage had Taarabt in his back pocket all night. 36-year-old Robbie Savage.
He gets vilified, Savage, but he was actually quite good for Derby, to be honest with you.
Yeah, we tried to sign him that January transfer window when Hughes did. And Roy Keane didn't sign him because when he rang up, it went to his voicemail, and Robbie Savage's voicemail was doing the old Budweiser advert saying "What's So Roy Keane was like, "Nah, it's not for me."
I think I've heard that story before. Actually, it just sums him up, doesn't it? And just imagine Keno just literally just putting the phone down and just never speaking to him again. Yeah, I've got my 10 guys when you laugh.
I've got 8. I'm proper struggling. I'm just happy to get 8. To be fair,
if you're happy to go with 8, we can just go with 8.
I'm happily going with 9.
Right. Okay. So, if you want us to just, I'll run through the names, and then I'll just trust you to.
Well, we could run for hours to see how funny it is. To be fair, if you want, because mine right.
Dylan, run through yours first.
Right. Malcolm Christie.
Correct.
Sick.
Yeah. I got him.
You've got
Ravanelli.
Ravanelli's correct.
Get in.
Yep.
Kenny Miller.
No.
Oh, I had him as well.
That Howard that he mentioned before.
No.
Oh well. Total shot and dart. Matt Oakley.
No. Good shout though.
Yeah. Robbie Savage.
No.
I don't know why. I just remember he played for Hull. Craig Fagan.
No.
And then my last 2 are like, I don't really know if they played for Derby. I think one of them did, so I put them both because they're quite similar. Put Sean Gorter.
That's incorrect.
And the other one I put One Chop.
That is correct.
Sick.
Yeah, One Chop definitely. Yeah.
I'll take my 3.
Paolo One Chop like.
What an absolute baller.
Oh, what a player Paolo One Chop was.
That's three for Dylan. Nate, go for yours.
Malcolm Christie.
Yeah.
Paolo One Chop.
Yeah.
Kenny Miller.
No.
Steve Howard.
No.
Iranio.
No.
Ravanelli.
Yeah.
King Pladze.
No.
Barnes.
No.
And I put that ball for, you remember that ball for Summit Villa?
Oh yeah, Tito Villa.
Yeah, that's the one. I just remember him scoring in Premier League years.
No. That was I was trying to think of. I couldn't remember him.
I think he's got like 1 goal or something.
I think he literally got 2 that season. He could be in there.
Do you want to run through yours, Matthew?
So that's 3 each in it. So the pressure's on Matthew.
3 each at the minute.
So I had Iranio and Miller, which are wrong. Christie, One Chop, and Ravanelli, so they're right. So I've got 3 so far. Strupar.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I said it.
Don't forget about Strupa.
Asanovic,
No.
Bayano,
Yeah.
Dean Sturridge,
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
and Dion Burton.
Yeah. That's correct as well.
Fair play, mate.
So 7. I got 7 then.
Yeah.
Oh, Mark Whitfield's
Solid
going to
that.
be upset with me.
So the 3 that were missed were Rory Dillap,
Oh, no,
Oh
really?
my god!
11 Derby goals. One was
He scored a bicycle kick.
He did, yeah. Quality finish. Ashley Ward and
We're scraping the barrel now.
yeah, and Horacio Carbonari.
Oh.
He was a left back. That tells you how bad we are. I was going to put him, but I thought, no, surely he's not in the top 10. But okay.
Yeah, well done, guys. So we have another guest that's won a quiz.
Second guest to win.
Second guest to ever win a quiz. So fire right into your 11 then, Matthew. Have you got a formation that you've gone with?
I have. I've gone probably controversially with a 4-4-2 diamond.
Nice.
Oh, nice. That's welcome on this pod. That is.
I am partial to a diamond, so I've gone with that.
We love a diamond on the Prawn Sandwich.
Wonderful.
Right.
Okay, so
your goalkeeper.
So my goalkeeper is probably the hardest position. I've gone with Scott Carson. It could easily have been. Who was the other one? I can't even think of the other one was now. So it clearly wasn't that easy. We've had quite a few. So we've had Lee Grant was really good earlier on. Obviously, he's at United now. He was good earlier on in his career. But yeah, I think Scott Carson, just for longevity, and he stabilizes when we were poor, to be honest. So gone with Scott Carson there. So I'm back 4, starting with the right back, John Brayford. Don't know if anyone's familiar with John Brayford. Again, just a bit of a steady Eddie, really. He just stabilised at the time. It could have been Jayden Bogle, obviously been discussed earlier, but I just don't think he had the longevity that John Brayford had. So centre backs are Jake Buxton and Sean Barker. Jake Buxton is just, again, he's a cult hero for Derby. He's a local guy. He's just, again, he epitomised everything that was good about the club at the time. He was an absolute warrior. He'd bleed for the shirt. Like,
is he the big bald one that just looked like a centre half?
Yeah, he doesn't look like a footballer at all. He pretty much looks like a plumber or something.
He played the QPR final. Yeah, was that team? Yeah.
Yes, yeah, he played the QPR final. Yeah. He's just been sacked by Burton as manager.
Yeah.
Oh, was he? All right.
Yeah. But yeah, I think he's back at Derby now as like an academy coach. It's not official, but there's been pictures of him like at the training ground. So I think he's actually come back. So that should be good for the youngsters. And then the second centre back, Sean Barker. He is genuinely, I think, the unluckiest man ever with injuries. Genuinely one of the best centre backs I've ever seen play for Derby, and he had like 3 knee constructions in 4 years or something like that. He suffered a horrendous knee injury against Forest towards the end of the season. I can't remember the year, but he was just pure class, like proper ball playing centre back. Could have easily played in the Premier League if it wasn't for injuries, in my opinion. And he's just someone that I look back on fondly. It could have been Keogh, but I was never convinced by Keogh, unfortunately. And I think just the way he left the club as well just left a sour taste for a lot of Derby fans as well. So
after the incident,
yeah.
The car.
But I don't understand why people were upset that he got sacked, because at the end of the day he was left unable to do his job and it was his fault. So I personally don't see the issue with him getting sacked. And I think he sued the club for sacking him, really, and I think he's just left a bad taste with a lot of Derby fans, to be honest. And then moving on to left back. Left back has probably been Derby's worst position over the time that I've watched them. I really struggled to think of a left back, so I've had to put in Craig Forsyth as my left back. Carbonari was a little bit before my time. I remember him towards the end of his career, but Craig Forsyth has just sort of been there for like 8 years, so I've just stuck him in really. I can't think of any other reason. Another one could be Max Lowe, but again, he just never had the consistency, so I couldn't find a place for him, unfortunately. So my 4 in midfield, so it's a narrow diamond. So a DM, 2 centre midfielders, and attacking mid.
Even better.
Love it.
Absolutely love it.
I'm wanting Brayford and Forsyth to provide my width, so it's beautiful. So my defensive midfielder is George Thorne. Again, maybe a little bit out there because he only played a couple of full seasons really, but the guy was just utter class when he played. He was just he looked too good for the level that he was playing at, which for me just means I've got to put him in. Again, another one with injuries. He had 2 ACLs in 2 years, and that just sort of ruined his career really. He's recently been on a Derby County podcast and going through his time, and I think the luck he's had with injuries has just been rotten. Don't know if anyone's familiar with the story of him or not, but basically he came back and Lampard just didn't fancy him really, so he just shipped out on loan to League One. But in the playoff season and the couple of seasons after that, he was just pure class, so I had to put him in there. Then my 2 midfielders slightly in front of him are Inigo Idiarquez and Craig Bryson. Idiarquez was just he was just pure class. Like he oozed class. You know the sort of player that you watch and he just skips around the field. Like he was unbelievable. And he's generally one of the best dead ball specialists I've ever seen at any level. So again, I had to put him in there. It's just I've got so many fond memories of that team and him. So
he was a quality player.
He was fantastic, yeah. And then Craig Bryson is a true Derby legend. I think the word legend can be overused, but genuinely he is a Derby legend. His hat-trick against Forest when we beat them 5-0, just his general performances that season, his endeavour, his determination, he would be perfect in that midfield alongside Idiarquez. And then my attack mid is Mason Mount.
Sorry, mate. I just Googled Idiarquez because I'm my hands up. I didn't know him. 20 goals in 88 games for a midfielder. That is quality.
Yeah. I think probably at least half of them were free kicks.
That is class.
He was genuinely one of the best players I've ever seen play for Derby. He was just so good, honestly. And in that team, it just fit perfectly for him. He was just a flair player. We just let him do whatever he wanted, and then everyone else did his running for him. He was just so good, honestly. Yeah, but I honestly didn't know his goal record was actually that good. So, but then he went to Southampton, and it went a bit downhill from there. Really, I think never really heard of him after that. Which is a shame. Yeah. So yeah, my attack mid is Mason Mount. Again, probably controversial because he only had 1 season at Derby, but the season that he had, he was far and away like the best player that was in our team. Arguably one of the best players in the Championship that season. Obviously, he's gone on to be amazing for Chelsea, in my opinion. I think I genuinely think he is criminally underrated by Chelsea fans and everyone.
I think it doesn't help him because he went on loan to you. Not doesn't help him go on loan to Hughes because he went on loan to Hughes and then was straight away playing. He's got this label as like Lampard's love child, and
yeah,
I think it's hurt him a bit. But I think he's even been maybe even a little bit better under Tuchel.
I would agree.
So like, there's no way for me he doesn't go to the Euros and stuff. Like I think he's quality, mate.
Absolutely.
Playing in the right position, I think he's class.
Absolutely. I think when he was at Derby, he played in a midfield 2 with Harry Wilson as obviously a really attacking midfield 2, and then they had a DM behind them, and I think that worked perfectly for him. So when he's got that license to just play,
yeah,
and he was just far and away even with Harry Wilson, he was such a good player. He was just far and away the best player in our team that season. So there's no way I couldn't have him in my 11, to be honest. So. And then up front, I've got a pretty big front 2 really in Steve Howard and Chris Martin. So there's not a lot of pace going on there, but there are goals, if nothing else, and work rate as well from Howard. So obviously Steve Howard, I mentioned, is probably my all-time favourite Derby player, cult hero at the club. just a genuine old-fashioned number 9, like a proper striker, which I'm probably too nostalgic, but I miss in the game.
I love a number 9.
Yeah, I love an old-fashioned number 9. So he's got to be in there for me. And Chris Martin is obviously has been. Well, he isn't at the club anymore, unfortunately. I think we made a mistake letting him go, especially with the position we're in now. But he's just been the one scoring all the goals for us for the last 5 years. Just a genuine goal scorer. Link-up play as well. He's second to none. So he would be my second striker.
Where's he at now? I can't think.
He went to Bristol City. We offered him a new deal. Yeah, we offered him a new deal on reduced terms, but he wouldn't accept it, so he went to Bristol City.
I think we tried to sign him on reduced terms as well, and he wouldn't take it. So,
Yeah,
fair, if he rates himself, fair enough. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, absolutely. I don't blame him, but yeah, it's a shame because he's exactly what we need now. So, it is what it is, I suppose.
Who's managing your side then, Matt?
I didn't think of one, to be honest, but off the top of my head, I think I can't really pick anyone else but Steve McLaren. Unfortunately, his time when he left Derby was, well, the first time. He's back for a third time now. But his first time leaving was obviously under a cloud. And then his second time, probably undeservedly sacked. But again, with the playoff season when we got beat by QPR, the best football I've ever seen Derby play. So I can't think of anyone else but him.
What's he doing now?
He's like a technical director at Derby.
Oh,
so
right.
I think he's almost. I think he's just like mentoring Wayne Rooney. To be honest with you, that's the impression that Derby fans get. So I'm a little bit too young for Jim Smith. I do remember the Jim Smith era, but if it's going just off my time supporting Derby, then obviously I can't pick him. So Frank Lampard was great for Derby, but again, he only had one season, so I don't think he could count as that. So yeah, I think it has to be Steve McLaren.
I think McLaren cops for a lot more stick than he probably deserves, obviously because of like his stint with England and what a few English managers in recent times that have gone abroad and actually achieved stuff. Won the Eredivisie with FC Twente, didn't he?
Yeah.
And, I know he tried his luck in Germany with Wolfsburg. Every time you hear a player talking about him, you always rate him as a coach massively.
Wasn't big enough for the Mags though.
Nope. Well, it was all.
He's like he was going back to his Middlesbrough days when he was at Derby. He was like he found like a little groove, and then it just kind of ended. Like I thought he was all right.
It was all the Newcastle talk really that kicked off our bad form the season after we missed out on promotion. Because there was just the rumours flying around that he was going to Newcastle, and he just wouldn't come out and say that he wasn't leaving. Yeah. And a lot of players have said since then that it was a distraction to them. So again, he left under a cloud really. But for the football we played, you can't really fault him in that sense. So judging purely off that, then he's got to be the best manager in my time supporting Derby, really.
Spot on, mate. Spot on. I like it. Well, that's it, Matt. To be fair. Covered all the grounds there. Just quickly run through your 11. Just rattle the players off again. Just one more time.
So I've got Scott Carson in goal. Back four, John Brayford, Jake Buxton, Sean Barker, and Craig Forsyth. Midfield diamond, George Thorne, Inigo Idiaquez, Craig Bryson, and Mason Mount. And forwards of Steve Howard and Chris Martin, managed by Steve McLaren.
Quality.
Love it.
Spot on.
Yeah, right. Thanks for coming on, mate.
Thanks very much for having me.
Appreciate it, mate. Thank you very much for getting in touch.
Welcome back anytime. No
problem.
Let you get back to your evening, mate.
Cheers, guys. Thanks very much.
Take care.
See you. Bye.
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 So that was Matthew, Derby County fan. Thank you very much for coming on. As usual, anybody that's interested in coming on the show, if you just get in touch with us on social media, or if you know us, just text us. And, everybody's welcome. Doesn't matter what your background in football is, whether you're just a football fan or if you're an avid Football Manager fan, if you do any coaching or anything like that, just come on the show. We'll have you on. Just want to say, we normally mention what football tops we've got on. Nath, what top have you got on today?
I'm wearing a 2005 to 2006 Celtic home shirt.
Dylan's got the
Sunderland this season's away kit. Buy one, get one free. Get to your club store now and buy it.
I've got Sunderland's home shirt between 97 and 1999. I had a specific reason for wearing my Sunderland top was because after listening to the episode with Connor today and I heard Blade and Races, I was like, I need to wear a Sunderland top the next time.
Honestly, I was wearing a face mask when I was putting it on. It's like, oh no, I just can't.
But yeah, thanks for listening, everyone, and till next time.
See you later.
Arrivederci.
How's the bacon, did you say?
It's Duta. Oh, what a fantastic hit! Roy Keane on Haaland. Here's Sancho.